good day. Hello, CW.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Rock and Roll Confessional, the podcast that never quits.
I'm Rita Wild, along with that guy, CW West.
That's me.
Yes. And this one is a special one. It's an episode with one of rock and roll true idol, Peter Frampton. Peter was always one of those artists that whenever we needed something at KLOS, we could always count on him to be a part of the radio station, to be a part of anything that we needed him for. Just a great guy. He talks to us about his new album, Frampton Forgets the Words, along with his dear friend David Bowie.
Playing live for the first half of his farewell tour, coping with his degenerative muscle disease, spending time with George Harrison, and he tells us the story of his Phenix guitar.
Oh, it's a great story. So let's do this. Here's our interview with Grammy Award winner, Peter Frampton.
How are you?
Hey, good. How are you?
Good to see you.
Good to see you too. You know, yesterday I thought this talk would go a little bit differently, and then yesterday afternoon and today, everything changed. So it's going to go a little bit more deep, I think, in some respects, and hopefully you're okay with that. And no, I don't want to scare you off.
No. What did I do yesterday?
Nothing. I don't know what you did yesterday.
Rita rethought her life yesterday.
Oh, okay. All right.
No. It's going to be more on like a spiritual kind of level,
okay.
like talking about some of the stuff in the music. But Peter Frampton, you may have forgotten the words, but you didn't forget the notes or the chords. Congratulations on this album that's coming out.
Well, thank you so much. I'm very proud of it, and I'm proud of my band because after 2 summers with Steve Miller and us, which was wonderful, and then coming off that and going into this period in 2019, the end, like October to April of 2019, so maybe 2018 to 2019, we spent all that time in the studio doing all the things that have been coming out, all blues. And so that was Forgets the Words was recorded in, I would say, like January, February, March of 2019, before we went on the finale tour. So, and then we're hoping to finish off a solo album that we did. We did nearly 4 albums in about 3 months. Wow. And that's how good my band are. And I'm just so proud of them and how great it was to actually go into this. It's the first time I've ever been in the studio and recorded like the old days. So when we did the All Blues record, it was the whole band, me singing live, playing the solos live, as if we're on stage, but there's no audience. And it makes such a difference. You had to record like that in the old days. And when you build tracks by building blocks, one instrument at a time, it takes all the soul out of it because there's no communication between players. And when you're playing live, that's all there is communication, so it was an eye-opener, and thanks to Chuck Ainley, my producer and engineer, fantastic engineer. And so we had so much fun doing this record, all of that whole 3 months or more recording period before we went on the finale tour.
When you recorded it, did you know that all these songs were going to be part of this one album, or did you just start recording things and then say, now we can take the 36th song and we can put it on here, and we take the first song and put it on here? Or did you know in advance this was going to be what your release was going to be?
I'm extremely OCD, so I have to go 1, 2, 3, and then 4. So no, a bit of both, actually. I joke. But we started the blues record and we did which was going to be all blues. And instead of recording one album, we recorded 60 tracks and then chose 2 albums out of that. And we did do some mix and matching at that point, but I believe Georgia on My Mind was not going to be on the first record, but we decided to move it over there. That was going to be on the instrumental record. So, and I'm glad we did. But no, pretty much I knew that once we'd finished the excessive blues recording, which we enjoyed immensely, that was done. And now I said, okay, let's take another 2 weeks off. Everyone go home, come back in 2 weeks, and we'll do an instrumental covers record. And the reason for all these recordings being covers was that I didn't know at that stage, and still don't know, how fast my muscle disease is going to progress to stop me playing. So obviously I wanted to do as much as possible in the shortest space of time, especially before we had this wonderful period before the finale tour was to start. So,
right.
There you go.
Give us a little bit of background on how you chose the songs you did. I mean, we don't have to go through every song,
no,
but just how special. And I know that loving the Alien is really one that is very close to your heart.
Yes, I pretty much knew that I wanted to do Alien before I chose any of the others, because obviously David and I were friends since school and together. And so, we'd done things together along the way, personally. And then all of a sudden 87 comes along and he asked me to do 86. He asked me to do the Never Let Me Down record. And then while I was there in Switzerland, asked me to do the Glass Spider tour, which was just phenomenal, Yeah. And I just said, it was about time, But he could have had any guitarist, as we know, he has had. Every guitarist he's ever wanted said yes, and he could have asked anybody, but he asked me because he had purpose behind that, as David always did. Mm-hmm. He always thought of me as the guitar player. He never thought of me as frontman so much. He always thought I was the musician, And then Comes Alive comes out, and then I'm and You comes out, and the dang movie comes out, and I'm a pop star. And all of a sudden, my credibility has gone down the toilet. And so, which was devastating for me, obviously. But I was responsible for my own detriment, I think, with the help from other people in the management team that wanted another golden egg every Friday. Yeah. So
not every day, gosh.
No, every lucky. Friday. It was just Fridays, You're
lucky.
That way they can go home early.
So exactly. So David gave me this gift. He invited me to go around the world and reintroduce me as a guitar player in stadiums. And then that was in the summer. And then in the winter, we went inside to huge arenas. So I thank him every day. I still do.
In listening to this album, people should know it's an instrumental record. And I think that for various reasons that resonates. I think because of the pandemic, even so, some lives have been shut down as far as like day to day, go do this, go do that. It gives you that chance to assess, to sit back and listen to the music. And that's what is so powerful, because it's to me, like listening to the Alien yesterday, it just came across me. It's like, this is spiritual. This is like your guitar playing was going up to heaven, and there was just, you could just definitely feel that passion, that emotion. I mean, it's all over the record, but on that song, it just really hit me.
Yeah. It's, I've always, thought of myself as a guitar player first and foremost, and I have an okay voice. And so that's the way I think of myself. I enjoy singing to the max. I love singing, but my guitar playing is my other voice. And I've said this recently a lot, but I sometimes feel now, especially with my history and just being longer in the tooth, I think that my guitar voice is more expressive than my vocal voice. I think I say more without saying anything with my guitar. And it's so important to me. And I think also knowing that I have limited time to be able to do that, I think that every time I play guitar now, I play as if it's the last time, and my heart and soul goes into every note.
Yeah. I mean, you definitely get that feeling throughout this entire record. It is really phenomenal playing. So yeah, in the band, I mean, everything just clicks. Everything just melts together like it's supposed to. You know, it's so great with that.
And the sixth member of the band, Chuck Ainley, you know, responsible for Dire Straits stuff and Mark's solo stuff and everything, as well as so many phenomenal records, is probably, well, he's not probably, he is my favorite engineer I've ever worked with. And he is just a phenomenal ideas man as well. So he literally is the sixth member of the band now. And we just work so well together. My band is simpatico to the max, and I'm very, very lucky. That's it's taken me a long time to choose players along the way, and I've always had great people, great players. But this band is something else. It's just one of those bands that really goes that extra mile, you know.
And I just got the chills on that, because it's so true. You've played with numerous people. You've, you know, like I said, had an amazing career, you know, played with amazing musicians. And still there was at that point, and maybe even today, it's just like, did I deserve that? You know, I think it's coming from you. And it's like, yeah, David. Hi, David. Yeah. David Bowie. I was in, no, just, you know, just you deserve it. And you deserve all the accolades. And I think that was really great on the farewell tour. Hopefully it's not the end of the farewell tour, but you know, that you were able to accept that from the audience. It seemed like that, finally get that love and adulation that you deserve.
Well, the finale tour, so up to the point where we were locked down in March, we were just about to go to Europe in May, and I hope we do. But I think the audiences on the finale tour, look, I was back in Madison Square Garden. I mean, come on.
The Forum.
Right.
And, you know, playing all these huge places again. And we were filling them, and people didn't want to leave at the end of the show. And I felt an immense feeling of love from the audience every night. Same, different audience, different city, same feeling every night. I've got chills now. But I mean, it was so evident that every night I had to tell them to leave, you know, so because they wanted us to go on all night. So I can never thank all the people that came to all those shows, and I hope we get to experience other audiences around the world after this. I keep my fingers crossed.
How is the disease progressing, or do you feel hopeful some days? And how are you feeling overall with it?
You're also on a test trial, right? Or you were?
We did. I was on a drug trial and other therapists. Nothing's worked yet, unfortunately. The reality is that there is no drug right now, and there are unproven treatments with no data. So the only thing that works is exercise, and I exercise 6 days a week. I used to be a slob. Now I exercise every 6 days a week and enjoy it so much. But it's the only thing to keep my muscles going, and the muscle I have left. And so, is it progressing? Yes. It's starting to affect my fingers a bit. It's not stopping me playing guitar at this point, but it's changing the way I'm playing. And but I can still play. It's funny, I have difficulty going up the stairs, and especially going downstairs because of it. And I drop a few things, whatever, with my hands getting a little weaker. Then I pick the guitar up, and the fingers just go ring. Okay,
yeah.
It's like they've been doing it too long, and they're fighting just as much as my brain is.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's sad, and but again, I'm such an optimistic person.
Yeah.
That even in the throes of this, how long have I got? Which is I call it we've all got our life clock. We've all got our COVID clock, but I got my IBM clock. And yes, I worry about it. And I have my ups and down days, but basically, I've got so much to be thankful for.
Yeah.
Back to the new album, one of the things I really liked is how it was mixed, and your guitar was put out there and emphasized, but it wasn't overly done. I've heard some albums where the guitar just gets cranked up and just overtakes all the rest of the music, and that wasn't done in this on this album, which I really appreciated. And one of the songs that I felt was so well done was Avalon, which was originally done by Roxy Music, and it almost brought tears to my eyes because it was such a meaningful time in my life to originally hear it, but then hear it again in your version. It was so well done.
Oh, well, thank you. That was Avalon is one of those albums that there's only a few in my life that I would call 99.9% a perfect album. Songs, playing, singing, performing, engineering, mixing. Clear Mountain, of course, on that one. And I would take that album, and when I would move to a different location, and move my music room or whatever, I would always use Avalon to EQ my speakers because I knew what it should sound like. And it's like, that's how a record should sound, and all of those, I could have done any one of them, but I listened to the album again with fresh ears, and I played along with all of the tracks. And I felt that I think I can be Brian but it'll be my voice, but it'll be Brian's idiosyncrasies, of his subtleties, because it's so laid back the way he sings. I don't know how loud he was singing, but it sounds like very quietly, so laid back. And that's the way I did the lead on that. And I'm most proud of that track emulating the feeling that Brian put out there. And for me, I mean, I hope other people feel the same way, but I just felt that I captured his essence, and it was very important to me that I did.
You did that also on Isn't It a Pity? It's interesting to note that, having read your book, which was awesome, by the way. Congratulations on that. That you actually played a lot on that album, All Things Must Pass, but I don't think you were credited. And so
yes,
listening to the album, I guess you get to listen to it with George, and that's like one of the first tracks that you heard, I guess, Isn't It a Pity? You didn't play on it, the original, but my God. That's great.
Well, thank you. Yes, and I knew I wanted to do a George Harrison song, and it didn't take me long to work out which one I wanted to do, and everybody else was suggesting that one in the band too. So there were a lot of songs that we all wanted to do. So it was. I think it's one of the most powerful ones on the record. Well, they're all pretty strong, but yes. I walked into Abbey Road the day George asked me, he called me up. I'd already played on something he'd produced with him, Doris Troy's record album, and met him during those sessions. And then a few weeks later, he called me up and asked me if would you play on my solo record, And so I said, oh my goodness, yes, of course, I would love to. He said, look, Phil Spector wants a lot of acoustics. So I said, okay. So I walk in and there's 2 pianos, 2 drum kits, 2 basses, 2 this, just like you read about with the Wall of Sound, with his Ronettes and the brothers singing, all those records with a huge sound. So anyway, I'm playing acoustic on about 5 or 6 tracks to start with. And the day that I walked in to Abbey Road, everyone's just arriving, and I go into the control room, and there's George and Klaus Voormann and all these, and Ringo, and I'm and Phil Spector, of course. And there used to be a joke there, but I can't say it anymore.
You can say it as far as we're concerned.
No, I can't do it now. It's something
Just leave
about,
it to your imagination.
Yeah, I think you can get it. But it's very funny though, but I can't say it. But anyway,
but it's really, really good. And you'd really like it if I could say it.
If I could say it, yeah. But I'm not going to say it. I respect the dead, so no matter what he did. So yeah, and they start playing Isn't It a Pity? And I go, oh, and my jaw was on my chest, and I'm listening to the first thing I ever heard in Abbey Road Studios, where they did Sgt. Pepper and everything else.
Yeah.
You know, it was like walking into it was the Holy Grail of recording, you know, and I'm with the Holy Grail band, you know, with this, all these incredible half the Beatles and the fifth Beatle, Klaus, and all these incredible players, you know. So it was, so I sat down with George, next to George, and then three of Badfinger were all playing guitars too. So there was five of us playing acoustics. And we did 5 or 6 tracks over a week, I guess, maybe less. And then that was done. Then they were going to do more electric ones. So Eric came in, and but I would see him as I would leave. Eric would come in, and so then a couple of weeks, maybe a month, I don't know, a few weeks, little time after, George, he would always call me himself. He'd call me up. He said, "Pete," I said, "Yes. What is it, George? What's going on? How's the album going?" He said, "It's going really well. But Phil wants more acoustics." So I said, "You're kidding me." He said, "I know." And so it's enough is not enough. More is more, Phil, you know. And so it's this time it's just me and George sitting on 2 stools right in front of the glass, looking at Phil Spector and just overdubbing on the 5 tracks or 6 tracks that I played on. And then George said, "We've got to do all the ones." So I don't know what I played on in the end. He would just quickly show me the chords or something I didn't play on, and we'd overdub on that. So I'm on a lot more than I thought I was. And the people that are putting out the George's Estate that are putting out the 50th anniversary, I believe it's remixed with oddities as well and everything, I'm sure. I did an interview with them, and they sent me pictures of me and George in the studio that I'd never seen. And
wow.
And, you know, just they had the exact day that everything was recorded and what I played on, what I didn't play. You know, it was so eye-opening. And I said, "This is all really good." But I said, "Would it be at all possible if you could put my name on it this time?" So they assured me
Excellent.
that it will be on this time. But you've heard it here. I have said it. But you know what's going to happen? They're going to forget again. I know they're going to.
No, they're not. No, I think no, they're not. No, they're not. Yeah, and Danny and Olivia will get that. We'll get that done.
I want to digress for a bit. I want to talk just quickly, hopefully, about Frampton Comes Alive, and why do you think that album did so well? I mean, you had 4 albums before that, which were mediocre, no offense. But then all of a sudden this came out and you sold, I don't know what we're up to now, but 18 plus million copies. Was it A&M Records? Was it management? What made that explode?
First of all, I dispute you on mediocre.
Yeah, I agree.
I'm sorry.
I concur.
Mediocre sales.
Mediocre sales, maybe, but not mediocre records.
Oh, no. No,
Well,
I mean, it was...
You said it. You can't take it back. Anyway, let's move on.
I'll buy 2 more copies if that will help.
Okay. All right. Anyway, the reason that was so big was that I had built up with my mediocre solo records. I had built up a following over a 4-year, well, actually the last year with Humble Pie, when just before the live record Fillmore album came out, we were steaming, and we were getting well known. And the Rock On album did sell about 300,000 before Fillmore came out. So we knew we were on a roll, and the live album would be we thought it would be gold, which it was, and we were thrilled with that. And so when it came to me starting my solo career, we got a song from Rock On, from Humble Pie. We've got songs from Winter Chain, all of the solo albums,
right,
up until that point. And we went out to promote the Frampton album, which had Show Me the Way and Baby I Love Your Way on it. So when we were out doing that, we knew that it would be, the Frampton album was doing initially really well. And we, again, sold about 300,000 copies. So we knew whatever was coming next was going to be, maybe it will be gold if we did a live record. So it was a foregone conclusion. I don't think anybody ever said, let's do a live album. It was like, we knew the next one would be a live record. Well, I've no idea. The first answer I have for your question is why was it so big? I have no idea. But I do know that it being a collection of 6 years worth, it was the best of me and a cover over 6 years. So 6 years worth of songwriting. But there's something that I bring to the table. Well, we don't have a table on stage, but there's something I bring to the stage that you can't put a word on. You can't describe it. It's something extra that doesn't come in the studio, and it doesn't come when I'm playing in the dressing room, and it doesn't come when I'm playing in my living room. But put me on a stage and take all the advice away from me and leave me to my own devices. When I walk on that stage, I'm in total control. And I learned over the years how to communicate with the crowd. And as I said earlier, I think there's something that I do with my guitar playing is that I really do communicate with the audience, not only with my singing, but with my playing. But it is something that I think that what you feel when you listen to that record is sheer enjoyment from the band. And it translates to the audience, and it's a feedback thing. And you hear the audience there. I mean, it's not fake. That's what it was, And they went berserk, And it was just one of those gigs that you would usually come off stage saying, "Gosh, I wish we'd recorded that," but we did,
Yeah.
And then we didn't have good versions, as far as I was concerned, of Show Me the Way and Baby I Love Your Way. So after Jerry Moss, the M of A&M president, said he loved what we'd done so far, he said, go out and do some more. So we recorded about a half a dozen more shows and got more definitive versions of Baby I Love Your Way and Show Me the Way. And bingo, we had a solo album, a double album. And the first person I played it to outside of the team, band, record company, and management and family, was Cameron Crowe.
Oh, wow.
And he was this new upstart that we all thought was 16, but apparently he was 15. We know that now.
No resentment.
Mum, when are you going to tell him how old he really is?
Much like people treated you in the early days,
exactly,
too. Because,
yeah. What is he, 2? No. So anyway, and we asked him to come and listen to it because he was the new kid on the block. And he was wowing everybody with his writing, and I played just him and me in the studio, and I just played him Comes Alive from beginning to end. And his face, I don't think he stopped smiling the whole way through, And it was the first time I got a reaction outside the family, and blew me away. It was so powerful, the effect it had on him, and. I didn't know, but apparently that was going to be the same way most people felt about it when it came out.
I think, from a business perspective, got to give one to the record company because it was at the time, I think albums were like $6.98, $7.98 for just a single album.
Mhm.
And then you put this one out, it's 2 records and it costs $1 more. So, I mean, it was like great marketing also because people, wow, I get twice the amount of music for just $1. So they were able to buy it more. And
that's right. A regular album then was $6.98, and they decided, let's just do it for $7.98.
Yeah, perfect. Which was
a great, as you say, great marketing tool.
Yeah.
Time for a quick break from the Peter Frampton interview. We want to thank you, Patreon supporters. We want to give a big shout out to Annie A., who has recently become a rock star. Without you, we would have less in our bank account to pay all those fancy bills. Please be cool like Annie was. Take a small weight off our shoulders by becoming a groupie, a roadie, or a rock star, and support us by making a pledge as little as $1. That's less than a bag of M&Ms a month, and you can support us. Please go to Patreon and then search Rock and Roll Confessional, or go to our support tab on our website, rockandrollconfessional.rocks. Okay, Rita Wild, it is time for a trivia question. You got one? Got a good one?
We mentioned in the intro that Peter Frampton was a Grammy Award winner. Amazingly, he has only won 1 Grammy. Which album did he win the Grammy for? We'll give you the correct answer after the second half.
All right, now get ready for part 2 of our interview with Mr. Peter Frampton.
I remember buying a guitar when I was younger, playing guitar, worked really hard, saved up my money, bought this wonderful Martin D35.
Oh, lovely guitar.
Yeah. I mean, and something happened with playing with that guitar. I mean, it played itself.
Mm-hmm.
And ultimately somebody stole it, and it's like, I've never been able to go back and capture that feeling. I've tried so many times, but I'm thinking of you and the remarkable story of your guitar. Can you talk about the Phenix or the guitar?
But first I have to say that I recorded the Frampton's Camel record with a D45 Martin that I got from Manny's on, what was it? 48th Street, Manny's, I'm just gone now, and in New York. And it was with the last money that I had from Humble Pie left over. And I thought, I can either live or buy a guitar. What's a guitarist going to do? He's going to buy a guitar. So anyway, unfortunately, I Lines on My Face, the original, is that guitar, the beautiful sound, just like your 35, which Frank Carrillo played a 35 when I was playing my D45. So I know exactly the feeling you had when you lost that. So I commiserate with you. I never got mine back, but I did get back the Phenix. It was not called the Phenix when I lost it, but let's try and nutshell this story because I got given it by a friend in San Francisco when I had an awful guitar that wasn't working for me, and he lent it to me for the 3 or 4 days at the Fillmore West with Humble Pie. And I gave it back to him at the end of the 4th show and said, oh my goodness, this guitar is just unbelievable. And Mark said, I said, I know the answer's no, but you'd never sell this, would you? And he said, no. And then there was a pause and he said, I'd like to give it to you. So, oh my God. So this is a very special guitar. It was donated to me by a dear friend who gets the #1 of every Gibson Frampton guitar that comes out now. He gets the #1, not me. He does, for what he did for me. And I spoke to him the other day. So anyway, I played that guitar on every Humble Pie session from Rock On through Rock in the Fillmore, obviously, and then through my entire solo career up until, and all my sessions that I did for other people. And up until 1980, we were in South America. We just finished playing Caracas, Venezuela. We were moving on, had a day off going to Panama to play a stadium there in Panama. And so we had our day off. We flew on. The gear went in a cargo plane. The cargo plane crashed on takeoff, and people were killed. People lost their lives. So when we heard about it, it was devastating, but it was more devastating that people had died than I didn't think about my guitar straight away. I'm looking at the pilot's wife sitting at the bar waiting for him, stuff like that. It's awful, and so, but then as the years went by, I missed that guitar so much. And Gibson finally worked with me for a year, and we came out with a PF Custom from memory. Yeah. I tried to make it as close as to the original as possible. But then 30 years later, I get an email, and in the email are a dozen forensically taken photos of the guitar now. And I thought, wow, how could that be? Because I knew it was mine. I didn't tell the guy that, but I said, it looks familiar. And then there's a gray area. So it had been taken from the tail that had broken off. All the guitars, or a lot of them, had made it, and they were sold by people that ransacked the plane, I guess. So it ended up on an island of Curacao, which is, I guess, where you retire to if you live in Caracas. Beautiful island there. Mm-hmm. And so one day, this luthier, who happened to be a immigrations officer as well at the airport, which is where the gray area sort of starts, really. And this kid brings in this guitar and opens up the case. He said, look, this guitar doesn't play well at all. He said, it's my dad's, and who's the musician that bought it in the first place. And would you make it work? Playable. And he said, so when he opened up the case, the luthier's eyes got huge, because he knew what it was instantly. And it's very recognizable. And so he said, yeah, that's no problem. I'll get this working for you. Come back tomorrow morning and I'll have it ready for you. Well, the kid left. As soon as the kid left, he called all his friends, and they said, take pictures of it, take pictures. So they took it apart, took it without the pickups, with the no strings on, inside the pickup cavities, everything, and then sent them to my website. And I couldn't believe it. I mean, I just was, it was bizarre. It was like, this can't be, but it is, And so then it took a couple of years, because when the kid came back the next morning, the luthier said to him, you know whose guitar this is, right? And he said, what do you mean? What do you mean? And he knew full well. And so he just closed the case up, and the kid ran out, So we knew who had it. We just didn't know where he lived. And then about 18 months to 2 years, 18 months later, the kid comes back in and says, look, I want $5,000 for this guitar because I want to buy a new one. This one's shit. So
it's a good sales pitch.
Yeah. So they told me that that's what the situation was. And long story short, they didn't want to come to America because anybody that had it felt that they were going to be arrested by the FBI for stolen merchandise. And we said, no, we've got you a hotel booked in Nashville. Check the reservation. So they did. They knew that they had a hotel room. And we gave them like the $1.50 3-day package tour of Nashville as well. And so that they got to walk around and go to all the guitar shops and everything. And so, yeah, there's film on the internet on YouTube of me waiting in the hotel room, and the Minister of Tourism from Curacao and the luthier brought back the guitar. So, because I can't put the Minister of Tourism in jail for stolen merchandise. So the country of Curacao actually bought the guitar from the kid. Wow. So it's a very interesting story, and there's much more to it, but those are the basics. And of course, when I picked up the guitar, took it out of its horrible case he brought it in. I just went, yeah, this is mine. It's just, it was unbelievable.
And was it shit or was it,
No.
Did it sound good?
No, it wasn't shit at all.
Good.
It had some shit on it. But I didn't want to take away the dings and dangs and the burn marks, because it was singed on the top, the headstock. It had been close to the fire,
Wow.
which was huge, apparently. Then we just all went straight from the hotel in Nashville over to the Gibson Custom Shop, where all the luthiers were there, and all the guitar aficionados were there, and everyone's going, So basically, I knew what it was, but I just wanted confirmed by Gibson that this was either a 1954 or a 1955 original Black Beauty, and then it was changed by Mark, who gave it to me with the 3 pickups. So, and they all agreed what it was, having taken it apart again. And then I left it with Gibson for about, I don't know, a couple of months to just make it playable again. It needed new electronics because it had all gummed up, and new frets and all that sort of stuff. But basically, the bodywork and the burns and all the scrapes and whatever it had been through in 30 years is still there. I didn't want to change that.
Beautiful.
And you gave it the name Phenix Rising.
Yes.
I love that. Yeah.
I did.
Named your studio that too. I love
Everything's a Phenix now. Ever since you see, you can sort of almost tie the level of where my career was with whether I had that guitar with me or not. It's so bizarre, really. I was building my career back way before I got the Phenix back. But, it was with me through all the great years up until 1980. And then things started to fizzle out for me. I hit Skid Row again, and then started, because of Frampton, the survival person, I started from scratch again and built it up again just by playing live, And so by the time I got the Phenix back, we were in the middle of the Comes Alive 35 tour, and we had a break, and we were going to do another 3 months in the next year. And so at the rehearsal in between the tours, just to everybody get together and jam a little bit to get warmed up again, the band didn't know I had the guitar back, and it came back right at the beginning of rehearsals. And so I put the guitar on with my back to them, and they knew it was back, but they didn't know it was back from Gibson. And so we never rehearsed Do You Feel? I mean, it will be a sin to rehearse that number. I have to play it from the beginning because I can never start it from the middle. I don't know where I am. So anyway, I just said on the mic to everybody with my back, I said, hey guys, I know this is weird, but I really want to run the beginning of Do You Feel, just because I'm worried about my sound here. And, I just want to check something. So I counted it in with my back to Rob, and then we start the intro. And as I turned round, you should have seen the looks on the faces of the band, because it looked basically like the one I already had, a newer one, but it was the sound. It was not only the sound, it was that sound. And then we did Lines on My Face, and I think I started to tear up, because it was me. That's my sound. I've got it back, and I can't tell you how incredible. When we went to the Beacon Theater in New York, and that was after that rehearsal, and towards the end of the show, right before Do You Feel, everything went dark, and the crowds were going nuts, and my tech just put the Phenix on a stand in the middle of the stage, and the spotlights hit it. And it was the Phenix's night. The crowd stood up, went nuts. And he was a bigger success than I was that night, I think. And then I walked over and picked it up, and we started Do You Feel? And CBS were recording it for CBS Sunday Morning. So it was just perfect. So
Yeah.
That's cool.
And that was its welcome back.
That's great.
It's a great story.
Peter, we're just about out of time. Do you have like a couple more minutes?
I do. I have. Yes, I've got something coming at 1, so another few minutes would be okay.
Okay, we have 2 of our supporters, our Patreon supporters. We have a couple questions from them. Hopefully these are real quick. Mariana Williams wants to know, once you became recognizable as a rock star in public, how did you feel, or did you love it, or is it uncomfortable?
Quick answer is it's uncomfortable. You always strive to be successful, not financially. I've never strived to be successfully financial, just that people would enjoy my music, and a lot of them. and so when you get to the point where you cannot, when people start treating you differently, it's disappointing. To me,
like special.
Yes. And I'm not a gregarious kind of person, and I'm a sensitive person, and I don't think I'm that great. That's for other people to say. So for people to start putting me on this pedestal, it messes with your mind. So it's a very difficult period for me. That was.
Okay. Bill Holman says he is a huge Humble Pie fan growing up. He wants to know how you hooked up with Steve Marriott, and also, are there any videos of the Fillmore concerts that you're aware of?
The last part, no, I don't believe so. It was before real video, I think, and it was too expensive to film. Humble Pie started because I left. I met Steve Marriott. I'd always been a huge fan of Small Faces and him. And the Small Faces asked, Ronnie Lane and Steve lived together down in the West Country in England, invited me and Andrew Bound from The Herd to go down because they'd heard we were having problems with finances disappearing. And they said, we've been through this. We think we can help. Would you like to come down and have a chat, and we can give you some advice? We've been through it many times. So we went down, and basically Andrew left and I didn't. I kind of moved in. And Steve and I and Ronnie really hit it off. And I would go down there every weekend and jam. And Steve was helping me find a band. Then they asked me, Glyn Johns was doing a Johnny Hallyday record in Paris. And Johnny Hallyday wanted to do some Ronnie Lane and Steve Marriott songs on his next record, and wanted the Small Faces to be the backing band, but they wanted another guitar player as well. Well, I think the way Glyn put it was, Eric's not available, Jeff's not available, Jimmy's not available. Well, how about Peter Frampton? So I was down the list anyway. But
still great company.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
And there were probably a few more before me. But no. So anyway, Glenn calls me up and says, would you do? I said, this is a dream come true. You mean I get to join the Small Faces for a week in the studio? Are you kidding me? So anyway, I think at that point, Steve was hoping that the other 3 Small Faces would agree with him and have me join the band. And I think the reason they said no was I was a little bit too tall, because they were all small. And not that I'm big, but I was too tall. No, I think it was just the finances probably. A 5-piece wasn't what they wanted. And so Steve got annoyed about this, I guess, and did one last show right after those sessions in Paris, in London, and called me up and says, I've left the band, haven't I? Can I join your band? And I said, are you sure you want to leave the Small Faces? And he said, yeah. And he said other words there. I do think I know I want to leave. And so I said, oh, well, if you're sure, of course. It's been a dream. I thought I was going to be in the Small Faces, but he said, no, not going to happen. So anyway, that was the formation of Humble Pie. But the following day, Ronnie Lane, unbeknownst to any of the other Small Faces, called me, and he knew that the rest of the band weren't really interested in me joining to make it a 5-piece. But now all of a sudden, he didn't realize that Steve and I had already talked about a band. He said, "What do you think about joining the Small Faces?" I said, "Ronnie, you're like one evening too late." I said, "We could have all been in the same band together, So who knows? But it took 2 people to replace Steve Marriott, Ronnie Wood and Rod. So he's a big pair of shoes to fill, this little tiny guy, with this incredibly huge voice, and had more soul in him than, oh gosh, he just sweated soul, So, and that's how we started. And we started rehearsing virtually straight away.
Beautiful.
I know our time is short.
Yes.
I want to just say thank you so much for all the music. I really urge people to check out this album. Frampton Forgets the Words. Can't believe you forgot the words, man. But it's, you invent a different language with your playing. It's beautiful. I mean, we didn't even talk about all the songs, like even the Sly Stone cover and the Marvin Gaye. It's just so good. The Alison Krauss. Yeah, just great stuff. A great album. And then also, I can't emphasize, read the book. You could find out how Peter almost joined the Who, almost joined the Rolling Stones, and Mafia. You had nothing to do with it, but people around you did. And it's just a fascinating story. I'm so happy for you that you have found that calm, that serenity, that peace in your life, and that you're a granddad now.
Yes,
Grandpa.
Grandpa is my name.
Yeah. And
Granddad is my game.
I just couldn't be happier for you, because you're such a kind, humble person, and just love you. And I'm so grateful that we had this time. Thank you.
Oh, and I have to thank you, Rita, for all your help over the years. You were always there, always have been there for me, even when not many people would have me, and you did. And I really appreciate you standing by me and being so loyal. So thank you.
And I'm so glad you got that Grammy for Fingerprints. I mean, nominated, but this is the winning one. And you wore the tuxedo for your dad. Just great stuff, Peter.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Peter, very much. I appreciate you being in all my memories from the early years. And, they'll go down in my history. So I really appreciate your time.
Yeah.
Oh, you're so welcome.
And blessings to Lisa, and hope everybody in Nashville is okay. I know that you guys had some floods recently. So.
Yes, we've had our fair share, I have to say, of with the bomb, starting with the bomb at Christmas.
God, yeah.
So it's been bizarre. So anyway, we're living in wild times, but I have hope for the future. I have real good hope for the future.
Yeah, and I
blessed
can't wait.
Health to you.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
All right. Thank you, Peter.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Take care.
Bye-bye.
What a special human being.
He was really, you know what? Every time I say he's really nice, I don't want to say he was nice. He was fantastic. He gave us the honor. And we both made a little boo-boo in our interview. I didn't make a boo-boo. I didn't explain it well enough that I thought the albums were mediocre, which I meant were the album sales were mediocre, which I didn't explain properly, but he was very good about that. And then we were very nervous. You called him David.
I was channeling David Bowie. We're talking about David Bowie. It was like somebody you grew up with, and it gave him a big break to play, in his band and the Glass Spider tour.
You don't have to explain it.
And that's
when I think I talked to you afterwards, but when we first, like the first 30 seconds into this, and I think you two were talking, you and David were.
See, David was a part of the conversation.
Oh God!
Now you're getting a lot. Now we're on a different.
We're both channeling.
We're both on a different frequency.
You and Peter were chatting, and I kind of had this like brief flush through my body of just kind of like kind of freaking out that it was Peter Frampton. And I've always said, you know what, the Banana Splits were the first concert I ever saw. But the first rock concert I ever saw was Peter Frampton and Fleetwood Mac and Gary Wright and UFO. And so
that's a good show.
And plus all the times we had met him before, and just such an amazing, kind guy he is. And so I tripped out for a second. I disassociated for a brief second.
I disassociated. I was like pinching myself. I'm talking to
It's David. It's David.
David. David Bowie's doing the conversation too.
Come on in, David.
Whoa, this is a great channel, man. Let's see who else we can get.
Yeah.
In.
Maybe George Harrison.
Oh, yeah.
Come on in, George. There's plenty of room. In my head, there's plenty of room.
And then we almost had that with John Anderson. John Anderson, we were going to like the ferry level.
I don't know where. Yeah. When we hit the ferries with John Anderson, anyway, you can listen to that episode. If you haven't heard it, find it on our website.
I love it. I love it. Our big thanks to Peter Frampton for Zooming with us. He's a busy guy. He got that book out. So good.
Yeah.
A big thank you to Lisa Jenkins for coordinating the interview. Lisa has worked with Peter for years and has never forgotten us, and we appreciate that.
Thank you, Lisa. And a smaller thank you, but a big thank you to Elliot Kendall of Film and Music PR and Promotion for getting us in touch with Lisa.
Peter's new album, Frampton Forgets the Words, can be found wherever you stream your great music or order the vinyl or CD version plus other Frampton goodies at frampton.com.
And follow Mr. Frampton at his website, like Rita said, frampton.com. Instagram, Mr. Peter Frampton. Facebook, Peter Frampton. Twitter, Peter Frampton. Go to our website to check out our show notes, and there you can find interesting notes on subjects we talked about in today's show, including you can order Peter's new album there, like we said. Plus, we posted some very interesting videos. We found the one with the Phenix guitar where he gets reunited with it, and there's also a great one with him and David Bowie traveling. I think it's through Amsterdam or something. They're trying to get a beer, but they're walking down the street, and it's just all these people don't know who they are, and then all of a sudden someone figures it out, and people start freaking out. It's really cool. It's really cool. They're bonding together. I don't know if it's somewhere Europe. I could be very wrong. It could be Germany.
Way back when. Yeah.
Well, they'd be smoking something instead of getting a beer.
Or you can get beer and smoke or whatever.
You could, whatever you want, man. This day and age. We always welcome our new listeners. Thank you. Wherever you're tuning in, please share us on social media. We are on Instagram. We are on Facebook. If you can share us and pass it on. And please, if this is your first time listening, please subscribe to us. We've got a whole bunch of interviews we've already done, and we got a whole bunch more coming back. All right, Rita Wild, give us that trivia question again.
We mentioned in the intro that Peter Frampton was a Grammy Award winner. Amazingly, he has only won one Grammy. Which album did he win the Grammy for? You know the answer.
Well, I do, but it's not what I would think. And he probably, I think you guys already talked about it, but I really would have thought with 18 million copies sold, I would have thought something in Frampton Comes Alive would have won him a Grammy. But
no, the answer, he didn't get one until 2006 for the album Fingerprints. It's his 13th studio album, first instrumental album, which is kind of interesting because we connected back then. He was on the station doing a lot of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And it features guest appearances from friends and musical acquaintances, as well as Frampton's signature effect, The Talk Box. It was his first album on A&M Records in 24 years. Congratulations, Mr. Peter Frampton. Really enjoyed the new album a lot. Go check it out. Really enjoyed the book. And, he's just an amazing person, and we wish him the best of health.
Yeah. I'm hoping he is able to complete that second leg of that tour. So hopefully 2022, he's still up and around and can manage to pull that off.
Yeah.
So everyone, that's it for this show. We thank you very much for listening. Thanks for supporting us in any way you can. And we'll see you in a couple weeks with a new show.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Okay, bye, buddy.